What would your life look like if you gave yourself the same commitment, consistency, and care that you give to everything and everyone else? Some of you are walking through life giving first-class service to people who treat you like a standby passenger. You show up for jobs that drain you, for people who ignore you, for responsibilities that aren't even yours to carry, and then you wonder why your tank is on empty. You must prioritize yourself first. That isn't selfishness, it's alignment. Most people spend their entire lives pouring from a cup that's been empty for years, hoping that if they keep giving more, someone will eventually notice their sacrifice and reward it. But life doesn't work that way. You don't get trophies for burnout. You don't earn breakthroughs by abandoning yourself. The world doesn't clap for people who suffer in silence. It responds to those who know their worth and walk in it. Prioritizing yourself is the foundation of all sustainable success, peace, and purpose. Every time you put someone else's needs ahead of your own health, your vision, your goals, you're making an unspoken statement to yourself that your dreams are optional, that your well-being can wait, that your purpose can pause. And the more you delay yourself, the more you delay your destiny. It becomes easier to believe that what you want doesn't matter, that your passions are distractions, and that maybe someday is an acceptable excuse, but it's not. The longer you wait to choose yourself, the harder it becomes to remember who you really are. You are not designed to be at the bottom of your own priority list. Yet many people live like they're the afterthought in their own story. They show up for others with excellence and consistency, but show up for themselves with excuses. They'll work overtime for a company that doesn't know their name, but won't spend 30 minutes on a dream that burns in their soul. That misalignment leads to resentment toward others, toward your circumstances, and eventually toward yourself. And resentment is one of the greatest killers of purpose. When you begin to make yourself the priority, everything starts to change. Your energy shifts, your standards rise, your decisions become intentional, not reactive. You start asking better questions like, what do I want? And does this align with where I'm going? Instead of, how can I keep everyone else happy? And those questions are powerful because they open the door to clarity. Clarity brings confidence, and confidence creates momentum. You start setting boundaries, not to push people away, but to protect the purpose within you. Boundaries aren't walls, they're guardrails that keep your life on track. When you prioritize yourself, you realize that saying no to others is often saying yes to your calling. It's not personal, it's purposeful. You weren't meant to be accessible to everyone at all times. Your peace, your mind, your focus, they're sacred. They deserve protection. Prioritizing yourself also means becoming radically honest. Honest about what's working and what's not. Honest about the fact that you've allowed comfort to become a cage. Honest about the relationships, habits, and environments that no longer serve you. Because you can't elevate in life while clinging to what's been weighing you down. Reinvention requires sacrifice, and that includes sacrificing the parts of you that were trained to put yourself last. And no, this isn't about ignoring responsibility. This isn't about walking away from your family, your job, or your obligations. This is about realizing that you are your first obligation. That when you're whole, everything around you benefits. Your family gets a better version of you. Your work gets more creative energy. Your community gets a powerful example. But when you neglect yourself, all they get is your exhaustion, your frustration, your fragmentation. You can't lead others effectively while leading yourself into a breakdown. This level of prioritization demands structure. It demands routines that reinforce your growth, not just your survival. Morning routines that charge your spirit before the world drains it. Time blocks that protect your creative hours. Environments that speak life into you, not death over your dreams. People who call you higher, not keep you stuck. You must design a life that supports the version of you that you're becoming, not the one you're trying to outgrow. The problem is most people are waiting for permission to do this, permission from their past, from their partner, from their circumstances, but no one is coming to give you that permission. You're the permission. The moment you decide that your life is worth showing up for, everything begins to shift. But you have to make that decision daily, not once, every day, even on the days you don't feel like it, especially then, because those are the days that shape your identity, that build your resilience, that prove to you that you are worth the effort. There's a version of you that's waiting on the other side of discipline, clarity, and bold decisions. But you'll never meet that version if you keep living like a background character in your own story. You were born to lead, to shine, to impact, but it starts by showing up for you. Not later, not when things calm down, not when everyone else is okay. You must prioritize yourself first. Reinvention is not pretending, it's returning to who you really are. It's peeling back the layers that life, trauma, disappointment, and fear have added to you. It's the courageous process of unlearning what the world told you to be so you can remember what God originally placed inside you. Reinvention is not about faking strength. It's about discovering the strength that's been buried under years of survival mode. It's not about adding more to yourself. It's about stripping away everything that was never yours to carry in the first place. Somewhere along the way, you learned to shrink. Maybe it was to stay safe, maybe it was to be accepted, maybe it was to avoid conflict, or not outshine the people around you. But the truth is, the version of you that plays small is a lie. It's a mask. It's not humility, it's suppression. Reinvention is the act of taking off the mask and facing the mirror with honesty. Not to criticize, but to finally see, to look beyond the surface and reconnect with the gifts, the dreams, and the power that were always there before the world told you who you should be. Reinvention doesn't require that you become someone new. It demands that you return to someone old, someone ancient, someone timeless, the original you, the unfiltered, unashamed, and unstoppable you. The version of you that existed before you were told your ideas were too crazy, your dreams too big, your voice too loud. It's about going back to the blueprint God wrote before life handed you edits, before pain rewrote your personality, before people projected their limits onto your future. Reinvention is alignment, not performance. It takes audacity to return to yourself, because that version of you doesn't apologize for being gifted. That version of you doesn't walk in a room wondering if they belong. They know they do. That version of you doesn't second guess their value just because someone else couldn't see it. Reinvention is confronting the fear that if you show up fully, people might leave, and doing it anyway. Because losing people is never worse than losing yourself. What's wild is how many people are praised for being someone they're not, while the real them suffers in silence. They get applause for wearing the costume. They get love for being convenient. But inside, they're starving for authenticity. The longer you pretend to be someone you're not, the harder it becomes to remember who you are. Reinvention is the rescue mission. It's calling your soul back to center. It's standing in your truth even when it costs you the approval of others. This process is uncomfortable because the false identity you created came from pain, and pain doesn't let go without a fight. It will try to convince you that the old version of you is safer, that it's better to be accepted for who you're not than rejected for who you really are. But that's a trap. You cannot build a fulfilling life on a foundation of falsehood. Eventually, the mask gets heavy. Eventually, the performance becomes exhausting. Reinvention says, I'd rather be real and misunderstood than fake and celebrated. You don't need to manufacture greatness. It's already in you. You don't need to hustle for value. It's been in your DNA since the beginning. Reinvention is about recognizing that you're not broken. You're buried under expectations, under doubt, under conditioning. The real work is excavation, the digging, the shedding, the solitude where you hear your own voice again. The solitude where you stop seeking validation and start trusting your own conviction. When you decide to return to yourself, the world may not understand it. People who benefited from your silence will be threatened by your voice. People who love the convenient version of you will resist your freedom. But that's not your problem. You're not responsible for their comfort. You're responsible for your calling. Reinvention demands that you stop asking, will they still like me? and start asking, will I still recognize me if I keep hiding? The road back to your true self is often lonely at first, but it's sacred. Because in that space, you remember. You remember your brilliance. You remember your potential. You remember what it feels like to choose yourself without guilt, to walk in purpose without apology. Reinvention is a sacred rebellion against everything that told you to be less than who you are. It's a homecoming, a return to power, a revival of the real you. And once you taste the freedom of living as your authentic self, you'll never settle for the imitation again. You'll never dim to fit in. You'll never twist yourself to match someone else's mold. Reinvention teaches you that the truest power you can ever hold is the power to be fully you, without compromise, without fear, and without delay. You were created to dominate, not just survive. Survival is what happens when your back is against the wall and you're trying to make it through the day. Domination is what happens when you understand your authority, your assignment, and your anointing. You weren't put here just to pay bills, clock in, and repeat. You were created with power, purpose, and potential, and that combination is not meant to sit dormant while life passes you by. It's meant to be activated, cultivated, and unleashed into the world with intention. Some people confuse humility with hiding. They think playing small is noble, but what's actually noble is standing tall in the fullness of who you are and what you carry. The world doesn't need another person who's good at surviving. It needs people who are ready to own their space, take territory, and speak with authority. Surviving is about reacting to life. Dominating is about creating it. It's about walking into every room like you belong there because you understand who sent you and why you were sent. There's a reason you've always felt like you were made for more. That voice inside that whispers, this isn't it, when you settle for average. That discomfort you feel when you're not growing. That fire you can't shake, even when you try to silence it with routine. That's your calling, reminding you that surviving will never satisfy a spirit designed to conquer. You were never meant to live in the shadows. You were meant to shine, to build, to influence, to dominate in your field, in your mindset, in your life. When you step into a dominating mindset, you stop waiting for permission. You stop waiting for the perfect time. You stop waiting for people to believe in you before you move. People who dominate life don't wait. They decide that their future is worth fighting for. They decide that their vision deserves their full commitment. They don't move based on feelings. They move based on purpose. Domination requires discipline, consistency, and the audacity to believe that you were born to make impact. A survivor says, I hope I make it. A dominator says, I was built for this. The shift is internal before it's external. It's not about having more resources. It's about becoming more resourceful. It's about realizing that the lion in you is stronger than the fear around you. You start attacking your goals with clarity. You stop negotiating with doubt. You stop giving excuses the same respect you should be giving your vision. You stop playing defense and start living on offense. People who dominate don't blame, they build. They don't wait, they work. They don't envy, they execute. While others are hoping for change, they're becoming the change. While others are seeking comfort, they're leaning into growth. Survival says, how can I get through this? Domination asks, how can I grow through this, win through this, and take others with me? You were created to multiply, to elevate, to influence, not just exist. Your gifts are evidence of the greatness inside you. Let's be honest. Survival is often just a mindset that got passed down from people who didn't know anything else. But just because they lived in survival mode doesn't mean you have to. You've been called to break cycles, not repeat them. There's a generational impact waiting on the other side of your decision to stop surviving and start taking dominion. You don't honor your ancestors by repeating their limitations. You honor them by expanding beyond them. Domination doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean you never fall. It means that when you fall, you get up different. You get up wiser. You get up stronger. You get up with more fire in your eyes. It's not about being fearless. It's about moving even when fear tries to speak. People who dominate don't let fear make decisions. They let vision lead. And they understand that obedience to purpose is more important than comfort. Somewhere inside you, there's a leader, a builder, a warrior who's tired of just surviving, tired of settling for what's easy, tired of giving away time, energy, and opportunities to things that don't align. That part of you is ready to rise, ready to own your space, ready to build something that lasts. But domination isn't an accident. It's a decision. It's a commitment to show up fully every single day, even when life hits hard, even when you feel like giving up. This isn't about hype, it's about heritage. You were born with power already in you. You were born with authority already wired into your spirit. And every time you choose growth over comfort, vision over fear, and purpose over pressure, you walk deeper into the truth of who you are. You weren't created to simply get by. You were created to lead, to build, to conquer. You were created to dominate. You train others by the way you treat yourself. People are always watching, not just what you say, but how you show up for yourself. They learn how to value you by observing how you value you. If you constantly disrespect your time, your boundaries, your body, your peace, don't be surprised when others do the same. You can't demand honor from others while dishonoring yourself behind closed doors. The standard you set for your life becomes the template others follow when interacting with you. The way you speak to yourself sets the tone for how others speak to you. If your internal dialogue is full of criticism, doubt, and negativity, you'll unknowingly attract people who echo those same patterns. But when you talk to yourself with respect, encouragement, and belief, it becomes difficult for others to speak anything less over your life and still remain close to you. People mirror the level of respect they see you give yourself. If you walk like you're royalty, people respond accordingly. If you allow chaos, tolerate disrespect, and keep showing up for environments that drain you, you're sending a silent signal that this is okay, that this is your norm, that this is what you believe you deserve. And people will never treat you higher than the standard you set. They will only rise to the level of access, energy, and boundaries that you enforce. You can't expect people to value your presence if you act like your presence is optional. Your energy is a message, and it's always communicating something. The way you handle your goals trains others how seriously to take your dreams. If you procrastinate, make excuses, and treat your vision like a hobby, so will everyone else. If you don't invest in your own development, why would they? But when you show up with consistency, discipline, and focus, it creates a gravitational pull. People either step up or step off. You won't need to explain yourself. Your consistency will speak louder than your words ever could. Every boundary you set teaches people how to treat your peace. Every time you say no to something that violates your values, you reinforce that your life is not available for rent to just anyone or anything. If you're always accessible, always saying yes, always overextending, you teach people that your time is flexible and your priorities are negotiable. But when you set firm, clear boundaries, you protect your purpose and you force others to interact with the elevated version of you. You also train people by what you celebrate and what you tolerate. If you tolerate disrespect, inconsistency, or mediocrity just to keep the peace, you're training people that your peace is worth less than their approval. But when you raise your standards, the room either shifts or clears, and either one is a blessing because you weren't created to beg for respect. You were designed to command it by the way you carry yourself. The way you care for your body trains others how to care for your presence. When you neglect your health, your rest, or your wellness, it sends a message that you're available to everything and everyone except yourself. But when you protect your energy, get proper rest, eat with intention, move with purpose, you send the message that your temple is sacred, that your life force is not to be taken for granted. And people who respect that stay. People who don't fall away. You even train people by how you respond to yourself in failure. If you beat yourself up, stay stuck in shame, and speak death over your progress, others will mirror that same critical energy. But if you rise, learn, and speak life, even in your lowest moments, you create an atmosphere where others are inspired to do the same. Your self-respect in times of struggle sets the tone for your relationships in times of peace. When you love yourself out loud, not in arrogance, but in alignment, you don't have to beg for loyalty. You don't have to chase attention. You don't have to over-explain your worth. You become magnetic. You attract people, opportunities, and environments that reflect the standard you've already decided to live by. You become the thermostat, not the thermometer. You stop adjusting to others and start inviting others to rise to your level. Everything you do is teaching someone how to treat you. Every choice, every habit, every boundary, every word you speak about yourself is reinforcing a curriculum. You are either teaching people to honor your presence or to ignore it. You are either showing them how to treat you like a priority or how to dismiss you like an option. The more you elevate how you treat yourself, the more the world around you has no choice but to respond in kind. Your next level requires a new version of you. Not a fake version, not a mask, not a counterfeit copy, but a refined, evolved, more focused version that was always inside of you, waiting to be activated. The version that doesn't negotiate with fear, doesn't get distracted by doubt, and doesn't shrink when it's time to speak. That next level doesn't respond to the voice of your past. It responds to the vision God placed in your spirit before you ever doubted your value. You can't step into the next season of your life carrying the habits of the last one. The attitude, mindset, and excuses that got you to this point won't carry you into your calling. Growth is not a reward, it's a responsibility. If God's given you a bigger assignment, it means he's calling for a deeper version of you to rise, and that version can't be casual. That version can't keep explaining itself to people who stopped growing. That version has to be relentless, disciplined, and fully aligned. The truth is, every elevation demands transformation. When you've prayed for more influence, more reach, more clarity, more purpose, you are also signing up for more responsibility. You can't impact the world from your comfort zone. You've got to develop the habits that match your destiny, not your history. The old version of you may have been good at surviving, but the new version is designed to lead, to dominate, to build something eternal, not just temporary. You don't step into a new level with old self-talk. You can't keep telling yourself you're not ready when God already said you are. You've got to speak life to yourself on a level that matches your future, not your fear. Every time you doubt your voice, your gift, or your authority, you rob the world of the impact you were designed to make. The new version of you must silence the inner critic and amplify the inner champion. Because this version isn't coming to take part. This version is coming to take over. You're not building just for yourself. You're building for the people assigned to your voice. People who are waiting to be unlocked by the confidence you walk in, the truth you speak, and the example you set. But if you refuse to evolve, they remain stuck. If you stay in comfort, they stay in confusion. Your elevation is not about ego, it's about assignment. You don't have time to be casual with your calling anymore. The new version of you is too necessary for that. It's time to make peace with the fact that you're going to have to let go of some things, some patterns, some environments, maybe even some people. Not out of pride, but out of purpose. The next level requires intentional alignment. You can't bring unhealed habits into a healed season. You can't carry toxic thinking into divine territory. Elevation always costs something, but what you gain on the other side makes the price worth it every single time. The next level doesn't make room for excuses, it makes room for execution. You don't need more motivation, you need more movement. The new version of you doesn't just pray about it, think about it, or post about it. They act on it every day with focus, with discipline, with faith. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Because purpose isn't optional. It's the reason you're still breathing. As someone who speaks life into others and moves people with the power of mindset, you already know the importance of being intentional with your words. But now it's time to take that same energy and direct it toward the next version of you. Speak it, believe it, become it, because that version of you is the one who walks in rooms and shifts atmospheres. The one who's no longer moved by pressure, but anchored in purpose. This new version of you doesn't seek validation, it moves in revelation. It's not chasing claps or approval, it's chasing legacy. You weren't called to be liked, you were called to be legendary. And that level of power requires clarity, confidence, and consistency. You've been faithful with what was in your hands, but now it's time to level up your habits, your thinking, your circle, and your voice. There's a world waiting for the version of you that doesn't hold back, that doesn't apologize for greatness, that doesn't dilute truth to be digestible. This next level is not for the faint of heart. It's for those bold enough to shed the old skin, rise in truth, and lead with fire. You don't need to reinvent your essence, just awaken it. And when that version of you stands up, everything connected to your purpose will begin to shift. Action is the bridge between vision and reality. Without action, vision remains just a dream, an idea that lingers in your mind, but never materializes into the life you envision. Dreams are powerful, but they are only as strong as the steps you take toward them. Vision without action is like planting seeds and never watering them, hoping for a harvest, but doing nothing to make it grow. You may have the most incredible vision in the world, but without the courage to act on it, it will remain a beautiful illusion. Vision is necessary. It gives you direction, purpose, and focus. But the true magic happens when vision is paired with action. It's easy to daydream about the life you want, but those dreams become tangible only when you move toward them. The biggest mistake people make is waiting for the perfect moment or the right opportunity to act. The truth is, the perfect moment is now. The time for action is always today. Every moment you delay is another moment your vision slips further into the realm of wishful thinking. Action is not always easy, and it is not always immediate. It requires commitment, courage, and the willingness to face discomfort. There are days when the road will feel long, when the vision seems distant, and when doubt tries to cloud your mind. But it's in those moments of resistance that action becomes even more critical. Action, even when it feels difficult, is the only way to make progress. Every step forward is a step closer to making the vision real. Every day you choose to act, you reinforce your belief that what you see in your mind is possible. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of a new vision, but vision without action leads to frustration and burnout. Without consistent, deliberate effort, your vision can remain trapped in the world of possibility, never breaking through to the world of reality. It's the small, disciplined actions you take each day that eventually build up to massive transformation. Vision without action is a house of cards. It might look good for a moment, but it won't stand the test of time. Action is what strengthens the foundation, making it solid and unshakable. Action also demands growth. When you take action toward your vision, you are forced to evolve. You must adapt, learn new skills, push through limitations, and stretch beyond your comfort zone. Every action you take forces you to develop into the person capable of achieving the very thing you desire. It's not just about reaching a destination. The process of taking action transforms you into the person who can handle the success and the responsibility that comes with it. The beauty of action is that it builds momentum. In the beginning, taking action might feel like a struggle, like you're pushing against a heavy weight. But the more you act, the easier it becomes. Small wins compound over time, and soon you find yourself moving faster with more confidence and more clarity. Action has a way of generating its own energy. The first step might be the hardest, but each subsequent step builds on the last, creating a momentum that propels you forward. One of the most powerful things about action is its ability to teach you. It's easy to get lost in the world of planning, thinking, and strategizing, but nothing compares to the lessons you learn by doing. The real-world results, the immediate feedback, and the experiences you gain by taking action are invaluable. You learn more from one failure than you do from 100 successful plans. Action provides you with the information and experience you need to refine your vision and make it even better. It forces you to make adjustments, learn from mistakes, and keep improving. People often fear failure, but failure is simply part of the process. It's not a reflection of your ability or worth. It's an indicator that you're on the right path. Action teaches you resilience. It shows you how to handle setbacks, how to get back up when you fall, and how to keep moving forward when the going gets tough. Every failed attempt is an opportunity to improve and a step closer to success. The only true failure is never taking action at all. Action, even when it doesn't go as planned, is always moving you toward your vision. The connection between vision and reality is forged in the fire of consistent action. It's the daily effort, the repeated commitment, and the unwavering belief that drives your vision into the physical world. Action isn't just about doing something, it's about doing something purposeful, something aligned with the vision you have. It's the deliberate choice to keep going, to keep fighting, even when the results aren't immediately visible. The power of action lies not in the immediate outcome, but in the cumulative effect it has over time. You might not always see instant results from the action you take, but trust that it's working. Every action you take is laying the groundwork for the reality you're building. Your vision isn't out of reach, it's in your hands, waiting for you to take the steps necessary to bring it to life. The bridge between where you are now and where you want to be is built with action. Keep walking it one step at a time and watch as your vision becomes your reality.